Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Community. I'm so excited. I am in Dallas at Hello Studios, and I have a new friend here. Hi, Taryn.
Hi.
I am thrilled because we have a mutual friend in Haley she hasn't even been on the podcast yet. I'm recording with her in a few weeks.
I Haley is someone that knows everyone.
Yes.
Like when she texted me, I'm like, of course you know her. Like I cannot with her, but she's the best.
Oh, I'm so excited. And we're both speaking at Boss Vision Con tomorrow, Amanda Smith's event. So I'm so excited about being here with you and being in Dallas and meeting all these amazing women tomorrow. Are you excited?
I'm so excited. In real life events are my jam.
Yes.
And I love them so much. And I haven't been able to go to Boss Vision Con because it always was like conflicting with other speaking engagements I had. So I'm so happy I'm able to come and see Amanda. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, well, tell me the scoop about you, because even though it'll be the first time me hearing it, I know we're both event girlies. We like love events. We love in-person stuff. We both love Dubsado.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
You may be more than me, I think.
I'm ride or die. I mean, I am contracted through them right now, but even before that, I've been ride or die.
Wow. Okay. You were really into it. Okay. I love it. I love Dubsado too, especially like for our team. Like it was like a deal breaker, an amazing game changer. Yeah.
Yep.
Like for everything that we've been up to. So it's been great for scaling our agency. But so curious for you, give me the scoop on kind of like how you got into business and like what your business looks like today.
Yeah. So my business actually started as a social media management company.
Okay.
So it used to be called the Social Lifestyle Co. And that quickly turned into my love for systems because I was seeing that a lot of people really enjoyed their social media, but they just didn't have like a process and a system for it.
Yep.
And I've just always had a system for everything. And I just thought that was kind of like everyone's second nature, but I quickly learned that that's not the case. And so I started diving into like the systems, like the back end of people's business. And that's when I found Dubsado. Mm-hmm. And I was like, where has this been? I was on another CRM platform and I was outgrowing it and I needed a new one. And like the month I started with Dubsado, I became certified with them and then started offering system builds. Did that for a couple years. And then I pivoted into a personal brand at the beginning of 2024.
Woo!
I know it's been like, honestly, the most like liberating feeling because I feel like I can add so many different elements of my business and not be confined underneath this like business name that I had. Mm-hmm. And because I did pivot out of social media, I'm like, it doesn't make sense anymore and all this stuff. So I made myself a goal in November of 2023 to be done with one-on-one clients in a year. And I did that in 2 weeks. And
an overachiever.
I move fast, people. And so then I was contracted with Dubsado. I'm their community and partnerships leader at this time and love it. I'm here repping them this weekend at Boss Vision Con. And then I speak and I'm a business mentor and I have in-person events now and it's like everything I love.
Okay, I'm obsessed. So what do you think is important for people who are in business around building community?
Yeah, so about building community, the biggest thing is how intentional you are with the community that you're building and also that you're like surrounding yourself with. A lot of times when people think like community and networking, they go to all of these different things. You know, they go to a million networking events, a million different things, and a lot of times they're not aligned. And what can happen is you're surrounded by so many amazing ideas, sometimes maybe not so great ideas, and it all starts clouding your head. And if you're sitting there like, you know, I'm around all these people and I'm doing all these things, but I'm not seeing things move in my business, maybe, you know, eliminate some of the outside noise because that could be what is actually stopping you from growing because there's too much outside noise.
Yes.
Community is huge and so helpful to build and grow and scale a business, but it can also be harmful for your business. And I see a lot of business owners kind of falling into that trap of like, well, people say to network, people say to go to events, and they're doing everything under the sun and then not seeing things change. So that's what I would say is like the biggest thing is be intentional with the community you're building, but then also the communities that you're going into.
Yes. Okay. I love that. Because my question too is like this idea of overcoaching. I know that's something, you know, I feel like I'm always kind of in something. I'm in an elite level mastermind right now, and everyone in there is like closer to the 7-figure mark. And so it's really cool to be around them and very inspiring. but I actually don't use the coaching a ton. Like I love the
community
peer coaching kind of thing. I love Chris, who's my mentor. Like I love him, and I love the coaching I do get from him, but I wouldn't say I like overuse that feature because I'm such a big believer in kind of what's happening in the room. But I also sometimes get into seasons where I've gotten too much advice. And so have you been in a season like that? And
oh, yeah.
How do you help people who are in community like with that?
Yeah. So, I mean, I've definitely been there. And anytime that I feel maybe like I'm getting too much advice is, again, when I have like so many different things moving in my business, but they're not actually like going somewhere. Like they're moving as in I'm juggling them all, but they're not actually like moving in the direction I want them to. And I'm like, okay, instead of like going to these outside people, I need to like look within and be like, is this actually aligned with what I want to be doing? Is this aligned with my values and my mission and everything that I'm like wanting to do in my business and in my life? You know, I'm a mom, I have a daughter and a son, and, you know, I want my daughter to be surrounded by as many like empowering women as possible, and that's like a big mission behind what I do. And I work solely with female entrepreneurs because of that. And whether she goes to college or becomes an entrepreneur, I just want her to be surrounded by women that just lift each other up.
Love that.
And so if something is like feeling out of alignment for me and it's not really like hitting on that like target, then I'm like, okay, even if I'm hearing this from some guru or someone that I'm even being coached by, that does not mean that it needs to be right for my business like right now or even in general. It could be great advice, but just for me and what I'm doing and where I want to go, it may not be right, and that's okay.
Yeah. My first business coach, I remember, she was like, oh, like, you know, the best way to get leads is to add 100 people on Facebook every day and like message them. And I was like, oh, I hate that idea. Like I literally like makes my skin crawl. And she's like, well, that's the way. Like, that's the way to grow your business. And that's, like, that kind of coaching, that was such an expensive lesson.
The cookie cutter.
Yeah, it was such an expensive lesson to learn. But it was really a good reminder of the fact that, like, not everything's for everybody. And that we can feel so, I don't know, like, we can feel so attached to the way that people do things. But it's not really supposed to be that way.
No. And, you know, the cookie cutter business model, you know, this is exactly why I never wanted to call myself a coach. I never wanted that title on me because there's just so much negativity around that title because of those like cookie cutter mentalities or people that are teaching things that they really don't have any business teaching on. And then, you know, everyone's like, oh, I got scammed by this person. Or, you know, I see on threads all the time, like, I don't want to join another mastermind or go to another event because this happened. And, you know, every time I before would hide and be like, okay, this is exactly why I don't want to call myself a coach. But now I'm like proud to call myself a coach and a mentor because I want to be that change and I want that to be different in the industry. And so like, you know, I urge you guys like, you know, listening and watching this to, if you feel that way about something in your industry, like don't hide behind it, like be the change.
Yes.
And that's been like a big, you know, mindset shift that I had to make because, you know, there is so much over coaching. There is so much of that cookie cutter mentality, and that's just not the way I coach. You know, I give you the strategies, I give you, you know, what, you know, you can implement and what is possible. But I always say, just like a Canva template, you got to custom design it and make it not ever look like a Canva template. And that's the same way with business advice.
I love that. So tell me a little bit about how you kind of got involved in like building community. So I know you have this role at Dubsado, but like, you know, why live events and like how have you leveraged events for growing your business?
Yeah, I've always loved the community aspect of, you know, we have online businesses. A lot of us are solopreneurs. Just this year, I brought on a team member. And, you know, we sometimes miss that, you know, water cooler aspect of things, or I was in retail management for years. So I was around people all the time, 24/7. I worked at Forever 21 and Zara. And so I was around people all the time, and then went into an online business and was around no one but my family. And I was like, this can't be the only way. And I got so tired of like hustling in silence and by myself that what really actually like kickstarted community for me was Clubhouse days.
Okay.
I was on Clubhouse like right when it started. I grew like a very large club on there. I think there's like, it's still up there. I never go in there, but there's like 60,000 people in there. And, you know, we were doing rooms all the time. And I was like, I love this. I've met some of my best friends through that platform, and we've been friends since. And, you know, that really like sparked that, okay, like, there are other people, you know, working at home and doing these things, and we can build community this way. And then obviously, you know, that the world shut down and we couldn't be around people. And then when it came back, I was like, okay, I want to now have this be in real life. And so I started attending in real life events, started speaking at conferences. And then I was like, you know, now I want to make this part of my business model. And that's something newer that's been happening this year. So my first retreat is actually next month.
Yay.
And I'm so excited. And then that retreat is turning into a conference in 2025. So it just kind of started from like me being around community and seeing like how amazing it could be. But then also the importance of making sure it's intentional at the same time. Because just like, you know, the communities you surround yourself with, I was very much like in Clubhouse days, like the rooms you went into and the clubs you joined. I really kind of saw what that could do and help and hurt your business. And so then I took that mindset into, you know, now in real life events. So it's been so great. And I'm like really excited to now bring this to my community.
Well, what I love about what you're sharing there too, there's kind of two pieces, but I'll start with the first thing is that like not every community is your community. Because even you live in Arizona. I've never met you before.
I know.
But I go to all the things.
Yeah.
You don't go to the same things we don't go to.
I know.
Yeah.
It's crazy how like big the world is, like the online space is, and then how small it is at the same time.
Yeah.
Like we haven't run into each other, but then like Haley connected us together.
I know.
I'm like,
and then now you're everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a small world that way. And like, so it's just interesting because I think, you know, we have to find the rooms that feel aligned for us. And like, there have been events I've gone to before or even spoke at where I'm like, oh, these aren't my people. And like, I had no idea before coming, and I'm glad I came, but it's not for me. And that was part of like why I created my event. Like, I've had women with Maria that, like, you know, there's not a lot of stuff going on in Canada in terms of entrepreneurial events for females. There's stuff popping up now, which is awesome. But I wanted to actually like bring Americans in. I wanted Americans to come to Canada. I wanted like other Canadian women to be networking with each other. And I didn't see the space that I want to exist. And there were rooms I went into that I didn't feel like were mine. And so I had to create something, right? And so it was like really on my heart. And so I think, you know, for you, it's like you're really saying too, like, yeah, like I'm on Clubhouse and this is kind of my path, but that might have not been, or that might have not been the person for me to connect with. So how do you figure out now, like where you're in this role where you're going to a lot of live events and you're spending your time and kind of probably spreading yourself a little bit everywhere? How do you figure out what rooms are the right ones for you?
I think for me, it's just like how I feel when I'm engaging with the people that are in the room. Like if I have moments of like, ooh, like, you know, when we were at Make Your Mark live last week at Jordan Gill's event, and, you know, I had said that there wasn't one person that I had a conversation with that I was like, had a, not my person kind of moment, like not one person. And I think that goes to show the kind of like community builder she is and the room she cultivates. And so I can get that feeling like pretty quickly if I'm like, this just isn't my cup of tea. And hopefully
I made the cut.
Yeah, you made the cut. And I'm just like, I'm very protective of my space and of my peace. I can be like easily influenced when it comes to like business decisions, like shiny object syndrome and everything. And while I think shiny object syndrome can be difficult for your business, I also don't think it's necessarily all bad, because you can gain a lot of inspiration and then put it up on the shelf and bring it back down when it's time for your business to do that, or leave it on the shelf. But I pretty much get a feeling pretty quickly, and it's all about listening to your gut. I think when people fall into issues is they don't listen to their gut, or they see what this person's doing, or their business bestie is going to this event, so then it must be right for them. And just because you guys are best friends doesn't mean that it's right for both of you. So I think that's too where it can be hard, is like, you know, there's a lot of events that are amazing, and, you know, I see that they're so great and everything, but I still am like, that's just not the space for me right now. It may be in the future, but like right now, I need to be so intentional in the rooms I'm in because of the trajectory of growth I'm having.
Yeah.
I don't want anything to set me back. Like I am on a mission to get to my dream life, and like I'm not going to let anyone stop me, let alone myself, by making decisions like that.
Totally. I love that. Well, especially if, you know, you feel, and like, it's so great that you say that, like, I'm easily influenced by these things. Like, so I need to stay in my lane. And even listening to Jordan, who I just interviewed before you, like, she was like, I was hyper focused on what I was doing. Like, I was building my VIP day program. Like, that was what I was doing, like, nonstop. And it's so easy, especially when we're in these like coaching containers where it's, or community, even live events. I get this too, which is why I'm very careful that our live event isn't too tactical, because I don't want people leaving feeling like I have to implement YouTube. Like, oh my gosh, like YouTube's where it's at. Or like people, and because our live event, especially, like there's women in there who like have a dream, and then there's multi-7-figure women in there. And those women need different things. But all of them need inspiration. All of them need connection. All of them need community. But they don't all need the latest in threads, right? Like, so it's interesting, like, because I think it's really easy when you go to these events to get wrapped up in what other people are up to, and comparison. I feel that even when I speak at events, like I'll be next to a speaker and I'm like, wow, like their Instagram following's bigger than mine. Oh my gosh, like that person's like doing so well. Like they must be doing so well. And then you find out it's smoke and mirrors, or it's not. And either way, but yeah, it's just interesting. I think it's really important that we protect ourselves.
It's so important. And it's, you know, it's not a bad thing. I think there's like this stigma on, like, I will be the first to say I have RBF so bad. So like if any time you think I'm like angry or anything, or like don't want to come up to me because of that, I just have really bad RBF. I was getting my hair done yesterday and she took pictures of me afterwards, and I'm like, I look so angry and I'm like so happy with my hair. I'm like, if I'm not smiling, it's just like straight face. And so I am like, but at the same time, I think because of that, and because I do have like a more like monotone voice, and I am like a very direct person, I think I let people's like perceptions of me kind of like make me not be true to myself in protecting my peace. And so before I was, you know, going into too many communities or saying yes to too many things, or, you know, we were just talking earlier that I like don't do any kind of coffee chat or connection calls or anything like that. Like if we have genuine friendships, like I'm just like, let's text, like get on a call with me. Like I don't necessarily just like collaboration chats personally. And so, but before I would just do it because I'm like, well, everyone's doing it, or I don't want people to think that I'm like mean or anything. And that was really harming my business because I was letting other people dictate the kind of business owner that I want to be and the kind of person that I actually am. Like I am a girl's girl through and through. Like I love my girls. I ride hard for my girls. There was like this trend on TikTok going on where it was like, and on Reels where I played this song and it was like, if I wouldn't ever fight, but if someone messed with my husband or something, like I would, you know, whatever. Yeah. And I did that trend, but about girls, like my girlfriends, because I'm like, a lot of people are doing these trends about their husband. I'm like, I love my husband, but I'm like, my girls are my girls. And I'm very much that way in like community and stuff like that. Like I love my community so much, and I adore everyone that comes in the communities that I get to be a part of as well. But because of those outside feelings of people, I just wasn't staying true to myself.
Right.
And I think when I really started listening to that and realizing that I wasn't being true, it made a big change in my business and, you know, scaled to way past where it would have been if I would have kept going that way.
So I love that, because even as you're growing a business, it's so easy to be so in it and be like, oh, like, you know, that person's doing this, that person's doing that. And the coffee chat example is a great one, because that's actually really how I grew my business so quickly, because I love that shit. Like, I love meeting people for 20 minutes, hearing what's going on in their business, maybe pouring into them a little bit and making an intro for them. That's like might change their life. But also, my business partner Maria is like, that's a big fucking no for me. Like, you'll probably meet her. She's coming right after you. But like, I remember we used to do our sales calls together, and she'd be like, stop making me do these. I can't do these anymore. Like, I'm exhausted, but I'm
my girl.
Yeah, she's your girl. But I'm so energized by them. And we even see that at High Vibe Women, like at our event, because there are women who are so attracted to Maria and do not give me the time of day. And there are women that are my girls, like, but they're not Maria's girls. And like, they're into my energy. And we always laugh. We're like, we have so few mutual friends. We don't. But like, there's just like an energy. Like, even like a bunch of the women, they were like, Maria, do you want to go to the beach? And I was like, oh, I didn't get an invite to the beach. But it's like, they're all like woo woo, and they love like talking about all the spiritual stuff, and they have all this stuff in common, right? And you find your people, and it's not always going to be like, even as business partners, we're best friends. Like, we're like ride or die, but like, we don't attract the same people.
Yep.
And so I think that's the same thing with community, that it's like, it's also okay for you not to be everything to everyone, and for you to like find community where you're looking for it.
Exactly. And I think that's like a huge thing that happens in online businesses when we like build these either business partners or really great friendships and stuff, is like to have, you know, those communities in different places, and that person's community may not be the right community for you, and vice versa. And like, that's okay. And also, you know, when you're talking about like your energy, how, you know, those kinds of calls like light you up and give you energy, where for me, like they're big energy drainers, where, you know, I wasn't feeling like lit up about it. But doing stuff like this, like podcasts, like all of it, like I love pouring into people, and I love educating. I love sharing my, you know, advice. I don't like to gatekeep information. Like, I would rather help someone get somewhere faster than I did. That just like, that lights me up. And I just, you know, when you are feeling a little burnt out in situations, like look for those like energy drainers, and then are you pouring into the things that are actually like giving you energy, or are you pushing those aside because you're focused on the energy drainers because other people are doing them, and you're like, well, they're growing and that's great for them, so I'm gonna do it. But then if that's actually an energy drainer for you, then it's not going to grow your business, because all those things that you should be focusing on, you're not, because you're pushing them aside and not being true to yourself. You're being true to someone else's self. Yeah. And that's, you know, can be really harmful for your business.
Yeah, I love that. Well, that actually kind of leads me to my next question for you that was from earlier. So you were talking about Clubhouse a little bit. You're like, goodness, I can't believe you latched onto that. But you were talking about Clubhouse earlier. And I think that what you're saying right now is also a really good example of also like platforms, because sometimes I think we are all feel like we need to be everywhere, right? Like you were talking about podcasting, and I own a podcasting agency, like social media podcasting, and you were like, should I do podcasting? I'm like, yeah, do it, like it's great, but like if you want to show up in your sweats, show up in your sweats. Like, don't do it. And if you're gonna be like, I need to rent a studio, I need to get my hair done, like that's not gonna be a fit for you, probably, right? And so it's not a fit for me. Like, this is very rare that I do this kind of thing, but just want to talk to some good people in Dallas.
I love it.
But for me, I think, you know, Clubhouse was something I was kind of on. Threads is something you and I are both kind of connecting on and enjoying. But there's platforms I don't like. Yeah. And I don't go on them. Yep. But there's always this pressure of being Alex Hormozi and being everywhere. So what is your advice to people who are like trying to build community and feel like they're trying to build community everywhere? Thanks so much for listening to Community with me, Kristina Bartold, and I'm just so excited to continue the conversations. If you're looking to grow your community and learn more about social, join us at thesocialbusinessclub.ca and use the code podcast to get your first month for $1. Share this episode with your friends and on social, or leave a review. It means the world.